And welcome back to Hannity. We are on the ground in Israel. We are in Tel Aviv, and here is the last part of my exclusive interview with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. I was in Sderot, as I mentioned, and 10,000 rockets, I was told, in 10 years. I went to...
10,000 rockets.
10,000 rockets. Right. And I actually saw many of the old ones.
That's a small town.
That's a very small town. On the border. Okay. I went to... Kids can't play outside. Right. They built an indoor playground for the kids. What would have happened if you didn't have the Iron Dome, and do you not expect that those that want the destruction of Israel, those like the mullahs in Iran, the supreme leader constantly saying they want to wipe Israel off the map, this is a challenge to stay ahead technologically.
All the time. All the time. You're absolutely right on that. But I think it's not merely the technological battle, it's the moral battle. It's the battle of moral clarity. We have to recognize who these people are. You know, Hamas in Gaza danced and cheered when 9/11 took place. They viewed bin Laden as a hero. In Israel, everybody grieved, wept with the United States. This is not a symmetrical moral divide. People say it's an asymmetrical warfare, you know, in the sense that they're firing on civilians while hiding behind civilians, and we don't do that. But these are asymmetrical adversaries. We believe in human rights. We believe in protecting civilians. We try to do that. They believe in the exact opposite. They want as many civilian deaths on their own side as they want, not only on our side. And I think that's the asymmetry, and that's the challenge for all of us.
Let me ask you one last question. What then do you make, based on what you just said, of this rise of anti-Semitism? What do you make of that? Where is that coming from, considering there is no moral equivalency here? There seems to be a up is down, down is up, black is white, white is black mentality.
Well, I think in some parts of the world, and especially now in Western Europe, there is an amalgamation of Islamist anti-Semitism and radical political parties that are amalgamating, and they say, well, skip morality, skip clarity, let's just do away with Israel. But for a lot of, for the Islamist radical groups, remember, we're the small Satan. You're the great Satan. You're ultimately the target. They attack us because they believe that we are you. And that you are us. And in one sense of the word, of things, they're right. We are you and you are us. We are that enlightened, civilized, beleaguered democracy, not without fault, trying as best as we can to stop the hemorrhaging, protecting ourselves against these vile enemies.
Does the world understand
radicalism? I think most Americans understand exactly what I've said.
The polls show that.
I think it's beyond the polls. I think there's a sensibility there. I'm not sure that pervades in other parts, in all parts of the world. I wish it would, because I think the future of our free civilization depends on our ability to have not only the weapons but the moral clarity to fight this evil when we see it, and now we see it.
One last question. I worry whether or not radical Islam is so much bigger than people even imagine, beyond these groups. We always talk about, we compare radical Islam versus moderate Islam. The moderate's awfully quiet, I would argue, in part out of fear, or is it out of agreement? Are the numbers of radical Islamists much larger? Those that buy into this evil ideology, is it a much bigger part of the population than one could even imagine?
Well, given that there are about 1 billion Muslims in the world, even a small percentage of radicals is a very big number. And they certainly terrorize others. There's no question that they do terrorize many in the Muslim world. We don't want to be part of that. But I think the greatest danger we face is that these Islamist terrorist groups or nations have the weapons of mass death. Look at the danger that we face when they have rockets and missiles. Now imagine what kind of danger we'd have if they can put a nuclear warhead on top of these missiles. That's the danger that is coming from Iran. If in this great melee, in this great conflagration, this great battle, one of these militants, in this case the Shiite militants, backed by Iran, sponsored by Iran, If they have an Iranian nuclear umbrella, if Iran itself can intimidate the U.S. with intercontinental ballistic missiles carrying nuclear warheads, then we bring history into a different threshold altogether. And I know many of the things I've been saying over the years, people have said, well, you know, he's just saying it. Now think about it. This is a danger I've been pointing to. It's not a spin. It's not a whim. It is a clinical diagnosis of a pathological movement that is sweeping our area but will soon come to a theater near you. It has to be stopped now. The ones who are standing right now in front of this tsunami is Israel. Support Israel. Support yourself.
Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Godspeed, too.
Thank you.
And coming up, the last